Welcome to a new class of Python automation. In this class, I'm going to show you everything that you need to know about functions and modules in Python automation. This is a very important class, so I would suggest you make sure not to skip any part of this class because you are going to be using this throughout this whole course. And after this class, we're going to get into more of the practical and effective part of the application or softwares and even automations that you can make by using these methods. So without any further ado, let's open up PyCharm on our device and let's get started with this class. As you can see from my screen, I have opened up PyCharm. So now let's create a new project. As I have clicked on it, now I'm going to name it, let's say, functions, and it's going to have modules. So function modules. Click on create, and if it is not, selected, or let's say the Python version is still not selected, make sure to select it and check it on every time you create a new project. Let's wait until the virtual environment has been created on our desktop, and then what we're going to do is we're going to wait until the skeletons have been updated. Okay, I'm going to remove this and let's just wait for a bit until this whole process has been done. And you can see that whenever Python is detected, it's going to show up right at the bottom right of your screen in PyCharm. If you don't see this module or see this version over here, that means your interpreter is still not selected and not detected. And to make sure that these are detected, follow up the step of keeping that Python in your path, in your environment variable, and then it will always be detected. Now, the first thing that I want to do is I'm going to show them to you step by step with also examples and also explanation. So let's start off with functions in Python animation, or let's say automation. Let's create a Python file. I'm going to put in function. So as we have created the function file, now I'm going to show you the step-by-step method of how to use function. But before that, we have to know what a function in Python automation is. A function is a block of reusable code that performs a specific task. In automation, function helps keep your code organized and reduce the repetition. First off, when you are defining a function, you use the keyword def. In that way, you are going to be defining a function. Let's say whenever you are defining a keyword or let's say a function, let's say I'm going to put in def. Now, for the most basic thing, I want to greet a username or whoever enters or entries in the site, or let's say even on this project. Here, I'm going to put in greet. That is going to be the variable. Now, I'm going to greet the person's name. So I'm going to put in name right over here. Now that we're defining a function, I want to print out, open parentheses, function, hello, comma, open up the third brackets and define in the name just like this. So when you hit on enter or run this, you will see that it is not showing anything because we have not defined in the name like already. So what we can do over here, we can call the function to run the function by its name. Let's say greet Alice. Here, if I run this again, you will see it is going to show me hello Alice. We can also put this before this definition. Let's say if I put this over here and run this back again, you can see this is how it will look like because you can see it is now working above it. So you can put in a comma or try putting in a comma. You can see we have greet right over here and you can run the function. Now you can still see that the greet is still not defined. That means you will not be able to put this before until you call up this, call function right over here. So you can put it right over here and run it back again and it will still run perfectly. Now, while using functions, you can use parameters and also return values. Now, return values are basically the values that you put in inside of your variable or while defining a function. Let's say I'm going to add in an add function, a, comma, b, and these are the variables that I'm going to be using to add it up. Now I'm going to return these values as a plus b. So a plus b has turned into a summation. Now I want a specific result. So here we have the result equal add, let's say 5, 3. In that case, if I run this again, it will show me 8 as the username, or let's say 8 as the answer. We can still see there is no value over here. So we can run this again, and you can still see that there is no such, answers. Let's put in def over here, and let's run this function again. You can still see there is no specific, answer that is returning over here. Okay, so what we can do is we can try this above and run this again. You can see it shows me off as an error. That means it is still not working. So let's just Control Z and take it back right over here, and we're going to run this back again, and then we're going to debug it. First off, let's debug the function. Now, as the function has been debugged, then you want to run it back again, and if it shows you off as an error or no answer, it is totally fine, because we're going to apply in new functions over here. So here, we're just going to apply in print, open the parentheses. This is the, let's say I'm just going to put in colon, and after this quotation, I'm going to put in the result. Now let's run this back again, and you can see this is the result. Okay? Or let's say the summation is this. Okay, we can also change up the value. Let's say if I put in 90, run this again, and you can see the answer is 95. So this is how you're going to run all of these together, and you can also use parameters and also return values. Now let's show you how you're going to use modules in Python automation. First off, let's create another file. Let's say I'm going to put in modules. So modules is a file containing Python code such as functions, classes, variables that can be imported and also reused at the same time. There are also various steps to use modules. First off, you have to save your function in a Python file, an example, let's say myutil.python. So what you can do over here, I'm just going to delete this. So here, let's just, click on this over here and press on delete. Delete over here. And let's create a new file. Let's say I'm going to put in my utils. That's it. We have this my utils Python. First off, I'm going to put in def. Here I'm going to put in say hello to be my variable. That's it. I'm going to put in print. Let's say here I'm going to put in hello from module. That's it. Okay. Now, after that, you want to import the module in another script. So let's say over here, I'm going to create another file. Let's say main.py. Here, I'm going to put in import myutils, and myutils is going to say hello. So dot say hello and keep it open. Now, what you want to do is you want to import the OS. There you go. And I'm going to also import the shootil. Here, I'm going to put in os.make directory. I'm going to create another file, or let's say a folder, where it's going to say test folder. After that, I'm going to put in shootil.copy. Open up the parentheses, double quotation. Let's say file.txt to be the name. After the quotation, I'm going to have this in my text folder or test folder. Test. Here we have test underscore folder. Put in a slash over here, and that's it. Now, what you want to do is you want to run the main.py. Now, you can see in some of these cases, there is an error. You can see we have the source and we have the RB right over here in the copy file. Okay, so this is how it might show up in couple of cases. So you basically have to use the built-in modules for automation, an example like OS and ShooTool. Now, what you can do is you can copy this and you can paste it in another file. Let's say new. I'm going to have this as OS. You can paste it right over here, and in my main.py, let's just remove this. Let's save up this file, and also save up this file at the same time. I'm going to just delete this folder. Delete. We can also open this up. Open in Explorer. Here we go. We have the test folder, which is empty. So let's just delete this. Let's go off into PyCharm and let's run all of these together. You can see there is an error. Let's run this main. You can see now it is saying that hello from module. If we open up the test folder, you can see there is nothing over here yet. So what we can do is we can open it up in Explorer again. Now you can see there is literally nothing over here, but you can see that it is running properly. Now let's try running this again. And you can see it shows me off as there is no such thing as test folder. Okay. And you can see cannot create a file when the file already exists, test folder. That means this is how it is going to look like. So you can see this is not how it should be, but it is working perfectly. Now, one thing you can do over here is you can apply this OS over here. Import OS, import ShooTool. Now you can see that this is how it is working right now. So we have also the custom module function, which is myutils say hello. If you want the file automation, type in os.make directory, open up the parentheses, let's say test folder to be the new folder. And here I'm going to put in ShooTool.copy. Here I'm going to save the file as file.txt. And I'm going to have this in the test folder. There we go. This is how I want it to be, and put in a slash over here. As we have all of this done, now you want to run the main file. Now you can see it is still showing me off as the directory, such as no such file, or directory as file.txt. So after that, if you just debug this again, debug the main, and if you just run this again, stop and rerun, it will show you off something like this. But you can see we have the file.txt file created. Open this up and you can see hello from module. That means that every one of your code is working properly. Okay, so that's it for this class, and hope you understood about everything in this class, and also you've learned about debugging. If you still have any confusion or any question about any part of this lesson, feel free to ask me anytime, as I'm always there to help you out. So make sure not to skip any part and follow up these steps and practice all of these things together. So let's move on to our next class of Python automation.